Everybody, I'm Dave Williams. I'm the VP of Analytics and Insights at Bump Williams Consulting, a three-tier beverage consulting group. And today I'm here to talk to everyone about what's going on with the spirits category at retail across the U.S. Over the last few years, spirits as a category overall has outpaced the growth trends of both beer and wine, in the process picking up share of the beverage alcohol space. This happened prior to COVID, this happened during COVID, and this happened in 2021, shortly post-COVID. Through 2022, those trends have evened out a little bit as beer has seen a little bit of growth coming from areas like imports, flavored malt beverages, and even some domestics. But at the end of the day, the spirits category remains super competitive when it comes to trends and when it comes to maintaining or growing its share of business. The good news is with its spirits, as the year has worn on through 2022, those sales trends for spirits through retail channels have gotten even stronger. Where dollar sales are relatively flat on an aggregated year-to-date basis, those trends are up around 4% over the latest 4 weeks alone. Really strong acceleration and picking up ahead of steam as we head into the back half of the year, where you typically see spirits excel over the holiday stretch, over the holiday time periods. Within spirits as well, a lot of what has been driving growth for the category has been consumers' willingness to buy those premium brands, that premiumization trend. Now, with inflation rising, purse strings tightening a bit, and price increases happening at retail, the question we asked ourselves are those premiumization trends consistent in spirits in today's environment? And the answer to some extent is yes. We're still seeing growth among those ultra high-end price tiers within the spirits world. They might not be as fast as they were in prior years, but they're certainly still growing, which is a good sign that consumers are willing to treat themselves a little bit more as long as the quality justifies the price point that they're paying. Now, on the flip side, we also have seen some improved trends on a lot of those entry-level or value-priced brands. That just means that there might be some shoppers out there that are trading down or are being a bit more selective per occasion. It's not a complete abandoned ship mode because there are still those high-end shoppers, but it's something that you want to take note of when you think about retail strategy and consumer price sensitivity. One of the other things that we learned over looking at data over the years is that consumers in the BevAl space tend to do a lot of shifting across categories. It's not universal, sometimes it's occasion dependent, but recent survey work that we've done suggests that around 70% of consumers out there are drinking wine, are drinking beer, and are drinking spirits. The response rate across those three categories has been pretty tight, which means that there's a lot of competition for those beverage alcohol occasions. Now, when we dig a little bit deeper through the data, and what emerges as a strength for spirits versus beer or wine is that, well, beer might skew a bit more toward males and wine might skew a bit more toward females, spirits have demonstrated a pretty even balance between male and female consumers out there. That tells me that it's a well-diversified consumer base, and spirits have the ability to reach males and females at an equal level when it comes to competing for those consumption occasions. Another strength for spirits, as we continue to dig into recent survey data, is that spirits have done a really good job at appealing to the much discussed or allegedly hard to reach Gen Z or new legal drinking age consumers. In fact, what we've seen is that spirits are being consumed by a higher percentage of Gen Z than they are for the Gen X or Boomer generations. And that tells me that spirits are working hard and doing a good job at building that farm team of consumers, excelling in the short term, but also building that foundation for the long term. A lot of these shoppers might be introduced to spirits via RTDs as a new occasion into the spirits world, or it's maybe through the traditional cocktail. Whatever the reach or method of reaching might be, it's a good sign that spirits have been able to resonate with the new consumers as well as continue to source occasions from their existing or legacy consumer base. So understanding what's going on from a trend perspective, what's going on from a premiumization perspective, and what's going on from a consumer demographic perspective, the question is, so what's the outlook for spirits in the long term? Number one, and this is the one we just covered, is that spirits right now are winning with the younger shoppers. They're building that farm team for the future. And anytime you can build for the future, it better sets you up for success in the long term. The other thing that I talked about recently too was RTDs, this ready-to-drink emergence in the spirits world. Those products are acting as a gateway for some of these consumers to experience spirits for the first time. And if those occasions translate into more traditional occasions down the road, or a new occasion now translates to multiple occasions in the future, all those translate to long-term success for spirits. The more people you can get consuming and the more frequently you can get them consuming builds sales in the long term. And the other thing too is when we talk about premiumization. I know times can be tough right now, but consumers are still willing to treat themselves on those high-end brands as long as the quality justifies that price point and that promise that the price tag suggests. The other thing that bodes well for spirits is that growth is multifaceted. It's not just this rising RTD space. It's tequilas, it's whiskeys, it's cordials, it's even select vodka, gin, and rum brands. It's a lot of shared growth and shared efforts creating those incremental gains for the spirits category as a whole. It's not just one area doing all the heavy lifting, but everyone coming together to grow. And then last but not least, in addition to the large brands, the national brands you see on the shelf, there has been a lot of examples of success for regional and local brands at the same time. As long as they're hitting on the attributes that consumers are looking for, they're hitting in the right styles and categories consumers are looking for, and it's an approachable price point or matches the price point for an occasion, there is room for success for everybody. It's not top heavy. So there's a long runway for distillers, suppliers of all shapes and sizes to find sustained success in the spirits category in today's environment. Those are the things to take home and think about moving ahead, and lots of success to be had when it comes to growing beverage alcohol through the spirits category. Thank you.